You ever been part of a group that just clicks? Where the energy is just right and everything flows? And have you been in the opposite, where it's just painful? Well, today we're going to break down how you can turn that awkward group of strangers into a team that's absolutely thriving.
Ugh, this feeling. It is universal. Doesn't matter if you're a teacher, a manager, a team lead, this frustration is so real. The silence, the total lack of connection, it honestly feels like you're trying to stir a bucket of wet cement. So, what is actually going on here?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Do you just force it? Do you cross your fingers and hope it gets better on its own? Or is there something you can actually do to change the whole vibe? The answer starts with a pretty big shift in how you see things. Okay, this right here is the absolute key. A group isn't just a list of names. It becomes its own thing. Seriously, it has moods. It has an energy level. It can be happy or grumpy, focused or all over the place. Your job isn't just to manage people. It's to manage the life of the group itself. So, where do we start? Well, like with any good building, you have to start with the foundation. And no, we're not just talking about cheesy games. These are the first crucial steps to making a space where people actually feel like they belong. All right, let's talk icebreakers. The real point here isn't to find out everyone's favorite pizza topping. It's about building something called psychological safety. It's about creating a space where it's okay to share some small, harmless detail about yourself without worrying you'll be judged. When that happens, the walls start coming down, and that's the very first step from being a room full of strangers to a group of actual people who see each other. So once people are a little more comfortable, the next step is to give them a real reason to talk to each other. The kinds of tasks you design are absolutely critical. You want something that forces real discussion, maybe a little debate, making the group have to pull together to find the answer. This is how you move from just knowing names to actually starting to collaborate. Okay, so that initial foundation is there. People are comfortable. Now what? How do we build on that? The next level up is moving from just being comfortable to creating a real sense of community. This is where it stops being a collection of individuals and starts feeling like a real team. This is that magic moment we're all looking for. It's when people stop only thinking about their own part and start actually listening to and helping each other. The whole mindset shifts from me to we. They start working together for the good of the whole group. And here's the secret. You can't just snap your fingers and make this happen, but you can create the right environment for it to grow. An ongoing group project is the perfect way to do this because it's something that no single person can possibly do alone. It absolutely requires every single person to contribute their piece of the puzzle over time to create one big shared success. All right, now we get to the ultimate goal, the holy grail of teamwork, synergy. This is that incredible point where the group becomes so much more than the sum of its parts, doing things that would be totally impossible for any one person on their own. And I'm not sure what that kind of synergy would be like for you. Think of it like this. One person's got a great eye for detail. Another person is a brilliant big picture thinker. By themselves, they might produce good work, but together, they combine their superpowers to create something truly amazing. That's synergy. It's 1 + 1 = 3. So how do you get this magical synergy? Well, it's not magic at all. It actually grows from these 5 specific conditions. You have to have respect and safety. You need a clear shared goal and a process that everyone agrees is fair. And then, and this one is so important, the leader has to have a deep, genuine belief that the group can knock it out of the park. That belief, it's contagious. Now, I know this all sounds a bit abstract, so let's look at a super powerful, really practical way you can create synergy in just one session. It's an activity called a Dictogloss, and trust me, it's brilliant. So, the setup is designed to feel completely impossible. Imagine this. The leader reads a sentence, say 20 words long, but they only read it once, and the group's task is to write it down perfectly. Of course, everyone's initial reaction is, no way, we can't do that. After the reading, everyone just frantically scribbles down the 2 or 3 words they managed to catch. And now, this is where the magic happens. First, people get in pairs. My 2 words plus your 3 words suddenly becomes a 5-word phrase. Then, those pairs get together with other pairs, combining their pieces into even longer sentences. And finally, the entire group works together, pulling every last scrap of memory to rebuild that original text. And here's the amazing part. More often than not, they do it. The group actually succeeds. They reconstruct the text perfectly, or at least really, really close. They achieve something together that was absolutely impossible for any of them to do alone. That is synergy, right there in action.
Okay, but let's be real. Even the most amazing synergistic groups have off days. Sometimes you walk in and the energy is just flat or tense, and you have no idea why. For moments like that, you need a few quick fixes in your back pocket.
Think of these as emergency resets. They're not long-term strategies. Sometimes just pointing out the low energy with a bit of humor is enough to break the spell. Other times, you gotta just ditch what you were doing. Maybe speed things up with a times challenge, or honestly, just get everyone to stand up and move. A change in physical state can work wonders for a group's mental state.
So, for our last section, let's zoom out from the quick fixes and look at the big picture. Because groups, just like living things, have a life cycle. And if you can understand the predictable stages they go through, you can lead them way more effectively.
Now, one of the most famous models for this is Bruce Tuckman's forming, storming, norming, performing. You've probably heard of it. Basically, groups come together, that's forming. Then they often go through a messy conflict phase as they figure each other out, that's storming. After that, they establish rules and ways of working, norming. And that finally leads to performing, where they're really in the zone.
But there's another way to look at it, a little more metaphorical. It's John Heron's Four Seasons model. This one maps the group's emotional journey. It starts in a cold winter of tension and mistrust, then thaws into a spring of new trust, which blossoms into a productive summer of collaboration, and finally ends with an autumn where they harvest their achievements before moving on.
So, which one is right? Well, that's the thing. Neither one is better. They're just different lenses to look through. Tuckman's model is really focused on process and tasks. Heron's is all about the emotional climate and sees the leader as a sort of gardener, nurturing growth. Both of them give you a valuable map of the road ahead.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that if you know what stage or season your group is in, you won't be freaked out by conflict during the storming phase or a little frostiness in the winter. You can see it coming. You can anticipate what your group needs next and guide them much more skillfully toward that incredible, high-performing summer of synergy.
And that's what I want to leave you with. Think about the teams you've been on, the classes you've been in. Did their journey feel more like a step-by-step process, or did it feel more like a cyclical trip through the seasons? Just thinking about that might be the first step to becoming an even better leader for the next group you're in. Thanks for watching.